welcome back to Greenlight Cinema, everyone. Marco, episode 6. Now we're doing this little review here and kind of want to just talk about what all I experienced and everything tonight. I might lose my voice, I hope not. It's been some dry weather lately around here in Kansas City. A lot of interesting things happen. Like I said before, this was more of like a setup for like more things to happen, which is kind of late to do. Kind of, it feels like at this point, but maybe not really. It felt like, I don't know, this episode was really interesting. Like I said, it picked up right where the other one, like, it's still the same day as the last episode, like it would do in season 2, and other seasons would do this as well. So Ethelrita starts out with her showing her coming home from school, and they're like, happy birthday, but they're in the dark for some weird reason. And we see that creepy ghost thing, like he just is in the background while they're like, and they all look like they're kind of like, I don't know if this is just some dream that Ethelrita's having, or if this is just like, I don't know, it was a really weird, creepy looking birthday scene. Cut to, they show Otis or whatever going to his house, and he knocks on his door. I think that's funny, he knocks on his own door before he comes in, and he immediately gets like attacked, and like, I thought he was gonna die. They're like suffocating him, Loy's men, and now he's like working for Loy and the Italian family. Yeah, I really don't want to give out a whole lot of spoilers. I feel like YouTube and other people are like, come on man, like hold back some, and I'm like, I want to just talk about what I just seen. It's amazing. This episode was a little slow, but it was very neat reveals though, and gave me some. I had to stop on the billboard. I've been working on my Fargo verse billboard because there's new things that have developed, so I'm going to switch around some things, but I'm on it. But like, yeah, so Otis is going to be working for Loy now, and it's funny, like once again we have Deafy like kind of just watching from a distance all this going on with his special binoculars, and I guess he's going to try and help Otis or something from what I can tell. We're seeing Gaetano like dancing and like passionately with this knife, and like they're kind of this. I don't know what the little guy's name is, but he's kind of like talking to Gaetano, and Gaetano's like in his own world of like, I guess like murdering and dancing. It's kind of like Joker's. What it reminded me of, like the movie Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Like he's just kind of like feeling like himself, I guess, in that moment. So yeah, and then they like hear, a little bit of noise, and they look out the window, Gaetano and his friend, and they see, Zermel Roulette, gosh, I can never say her name right, and Swanee, and they're just like, a couple broads walking in, whatever. And then, not too long after that, like a few seconds later, it's like gunfire, a lot of loud noises, and like all of a sudden he's like, hey, go check it all out. That was dumb on his part, because it's like he's just kind of like sitting and waiting and hearing for anything, and we all of a sudden Swanee pops up from behind Gaetano, and then we hear someone by the door, and he's like shoots, and he shoots his own guy. It reminded me of Dodd, which I'll get to that. He gets knocked out. He got shot. I was like, oh, okay, dead. This problem's over with, to hot-headed brother. Not exactly. It's remind me a lot of Dodd. Remember how Dodd shot his own man in Fargo season 2? So we got that. This guy shoots his own guy, and then gets knocked out, like Dodd did, and gets taken away by a couple, like Dodd did. Very similar in some aspects to we see Gaetano, and he's chained up, and it really does remind me of Dodd, but I guess you could really say that Gene Lundegaard was really the first one to be like this, but it's not like exactly like tied. Like he's got like a neck chain and like about to get like beat up by a boxer, Lloyd kind of gives us like, we hear a lot about New York in this episode. So Lloyd and Doc are from New York, possibly, I guess, because he's like talking about New York or something. He brings it up a couple times. I do know that. And like, so he's talking to Gaetano, who speaks like little to no English almost. And like, Gaetano's like laughing disrespectfully, and he's just getting beat up pretty good. Like, well, we see he like one punch, and then it's like cut to commercial. Mayville, or I believe that's his name. The guy that was friends with Dr. Senator, he comes back from from his trip to New York, and this is where we get our another season 2 appearance cameo character with Joe Bullo. It's like, oh wow, I'm like, we're really getting kind of a full picture here, it feels like. And so there's people from New York for Cannon, or he's from New York. He talked about Harlem actually. And then so the Italians, they also have people they have to answer to in New York. And that's the big thing. It's like, okay, well, you know, you've been kind of causing chaos. And they ask for like the craziest things. They're like, they want, the biggest thing they want is for Giusto and Gaetano to get along and be cool with everything and have a smooth sailing, you know, type of business, family business. But we know that's not the case here with this family. It's a lot of power struggle here. I'm the boss. So we hear that a lot from Giusto. And he doesn't really get treated like the boss, but he doesn't really act like the boss either. Like I said before, Gaetano's more the leader type. But it did remind me of like Bear in some aspects, because, you know, pretty much when Gaetano gets taken away, it's like he's like, oh, he's dead then, he's gone, right? It's like the whole like Dodd thing is what it reminds me of. I don't mean to keep bringing this same thing back up, but it's like, as soon as Dodd was like gone for a while, Bear's like, there is no Dodd, you hear me? He's like, we don't need any crazy, we got enough crazy around here. You know, that's what that kind of reminded me of. I'm not saying Giusto's Bear in any way. He's more of a Rye Gerhardt type than anything. If I had to compare him to a Gerhardt, it'd be like if Rye became boss. It'd be like, oh. Anyway, so yeah, we got Giusto, and he tells Joe Bullo, which I think is funny, kind of like, get out here, kid. You know, let the adults talk. And really, what I think is going to happen, I just want to give out a little theory. This is a little theory I'm kind of giving out. I still believe that Giusto is going to get it and like get killed at the end. I think Gaetano too. I really believe that Joe Bullo might be taking over this business. Perhaps New York needs a new boss. You know what I mean? To kind of take over. And they don't, you know, maybe they're tired of this whole, you know, the Italians and the black mob. That maybe they just want them to converge and to be the Kansas City Mafia or the mob. You know, all rolled into one. And I kind of like maybe that's where it's developing. It's kind of like, you know, it reminds me of that changing type of thing, like in, you know, 79, season 2 type thing again. Sorry about that. So, yeah, he's got this now to deal with. Gaetano's been taken away. So, Giusto, he talks to Calamita. And Calamita's kind of like, yeah, you know, maybe kill Gaetano if we have to or whatever. And it's like, Giusto's like, well, whose loyalty are you on? I'm glad that he called him out on that, because it's like, whoa, dude, you're supposed to be like tight with Gaetano or something. I don't know. I think that this guy wants to take over I don't trust Calamita. I cannot wait for that guy to finally get it. Like, I can't stand this guy. It's like, he's like so in the way, and just, he killed Dr. Senator, so there's no going back, you know? Or whatever, they're like, you know, trying to figure out what all they should do and everything, and you need to take care of this now, Giusto, you need to take care of this now, boss. And he's like, all right, well, he's like, give me Rabbi. And he's like, I want to talk to him for a minute. And they're like, what about the kid? He's like, and you know, we'll take him for a drive. And I was like, oh no! And it's already starting to get intense almost. And it's like, well, we already know Rabbi's not going to let this fly when he figures everything that's going on. He's already got plans set in motion. We already know that by Rabbi. The way he made it sound, like Gaetano is going to have something to do with Sancho's death, if there was to be a death. And it don't happen, thank goodness. So, with Sancho it didn't. But, you know, and so it's really interesting. Like, I was like, wow, he's got plans set already. He's pretty smart, more than I thought he was. So he's going to frame him up, it sounds like. But that gets a little derailed. But we cut to, we see Loy, and he's kind of like a flashback of him and Doc talking about New York again. And this is what I think is going to happen. I think there's going to, like, develop into a big war. Remember he told Kellerman, Mort Kellerman, he's like, but he owes us our devotions. Or he told Doctor to tell him that. You know, Dr. Sindler, he's like, but tell Mort that he owes us his devotion. So I guarantee you that's going to lead to them coming down and to having some type of war, maybe some type of understanding. And like, the Gerhardts are going to be brought up. I guarantee you that Mort Kellerman's going to be like, well, you know, those pesky Gerhardts, there'd be some nice people to take out. I think they're always trying to get my operation. Because remember, he's actually sitting on the Gerhardt's operation, Mort Kellerman is. He didn't get that. He shot Dieter Gerhardt like 19 times in the head or something. Something really crazy that Ben Smith said in season 2 like that. So yeah, that's the little info we have on that. So what happens is like, we cut to, we see like Rabbi and Josto talking. Josto figures out this plan already, and he's like, I'm not cool and comfortable with this. And like, he's like, and you know, Josto's like, we're gonna take care of whatever you need to do, and you know, don't worry about the kid. Oh, I love this. I thought this was very interesting. Mayville, he mentions, he's like, what about Zero? They could like kill him or something, you know? He's like, maybe not. That's how Josto is. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, this is your little brother. Like, how cold. Oh, these are just boys making a mess. Like Dr. Senator said, I couldn't agree with him more. So I am kind of waiting, hoping that Joe Bullo's kind of going to be this quiet type for the time being to wipe all these other guys out, and you know, they formed their own plan. I mean, it's motions setting. We have this setup coming on that feels like a big payoff that we're going to be like, oh, like it all makes sense. And what was really interesting was Rabbi and Josto's sister talking. They're real, like, close. It looks like they're planning something at some point. Her husband comes through the door, and, like, his kids are all like, yay! And he's like, let's go for a drive. Me and Sancho. And, like, whoa, he got Rabbi out of there first. And I thought that was pretty funny. But the funny thing is, I'm going to have to go back for a minute. Lloyd, he asked why he was talking. Let's go back a couple of scenes. He got Otis to come down to where Gaetano's getting beat up at. And, like, he was like, oh my gosh. When he seen that, he was just kind of like, whoa, this is a lot of things happening. And he was like, yeah. He's like, now I'm going to need you to go get my son. He's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you know, you can do it. You're the police. Go ahead. Get your gun. Get your badge. Go. So that don't go exactly. And I knew it wouldn't get, like, as nervous he is, as many guards, they're all guarded up like that? Nah. So they say they're going to take Otis for a drive. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the last that we've seen of Otis in this episode. I don't know, like, Calamita and somebody took Otis for a drive, and then Rabbi, he comes to that house, he like grabs like Josto's sister like by the face and was like, where are they? And like figures it out and like finds like finds Sancho and her husband. A camp, as best I can tell, it looks like a concentration camp, and it's like just kind of like, you know, like foxholes and just like places ripped and torn. And he was like, yeah, I've carved my initials right there. You look at them, go look, it's great, you should look, they're great. And Sancho goes down there, whatever, and that guy's about to pull out his gun. We already know what's about to happen. We're like, oh no, like, Rabbi, get there in time. He does, but the guy don't shoot Sancho. You know, he kind of thinks about stuff. I mean, this guy's got kids, you know, he's like, you know, maybe it hit him, like, what am I about to do? But he got shot anyway. I mean, you couldn't really predict this guy. I mean, honestly, like, someone do this, and then it's like he was too comfortable with the situation to begin with. But I love how, like, Rabbi got, like, Sancho. I keep wanting to call him Mike because it's about to come. I feel like he's just going to switch over to being Mike Milligan. It's too many similarities at this point not to call it this. But it's real funny, though. Well, it's really interesting. Was Rabbi was like, hey, we gotta go back home. And Sancho's like, home? And he was like, well, not that home. And he's like, well, I don't know. He's like, whatever. He gave him options, but he's like, I want you to come with me, though. But I'm pretty sure it was like what I was saying, like in that last episode, hey, if I could have had someone to stick this out and help me, I would have loved it, and I'm going to be that guy for you. You don't have to be in this crazy life. I like that about this rabbi guy, but I have a feeling that he's not going to make it either. I feel like what's going to happen is like Mike and Joe Bullo are going to meet, and it looks like Joe Bullo is like in his 20s or something. He looks pretty young, and I just bet that like he's going to like kind of be like a big brother to Mike too, kind of like another rabbi, but like this guy's kind of like, I'm the boss now, and where I'm the boss, you're like going to be like the number 2 boss and everything. Even the way that the kid speaks, like the kid that plays Sacho, he even kind of sounds like the guy that played Mike Milligan. Oh, and we get the nurse. I forgot to mention this little part. I know that this episode, and I apologize, my voice, like I said, is kind of going out on me. That dry weather here in this Kansas Harvard's City. Like, hey, I got this strange note. It's really weird, and it's saying a bunch of stuff that I don't like about you. And I'm thinking about, doing something, taking some action. She talks her way out of it, like she always does. But the funny thing is, she remembered that he likes macaroons. So it sounds like she's going to, like, try and get one on him. And I'm pretty sure she already knows who wrote that letter. Because it was like mentioned about being around bodies in a funeral home. Like you mentioned, you go to your victims after they die. Well, yeah, it's a real Christian thing to do, respectful, And like he's like, but yeah, I forgot what all she says, but she's just like, you're not gonna believe that from anonymous. I really thought that Ethelreda wrote her name on that though, but she was trying to grab that note, but she never did. But she, I think. But it ended crazy though, because as she's leaving, like the guy we've been hearing like moaning and groaning in pain, sadly for like 2 episodes, like that. Even the Dr. Harvard, the administrator guy's like, oh, is there anything we can do to shut him up? It's like these are the people running this hospital. It's like, oh gosh. So she does get him to, be quiet or silence him forever, because we just see like a dark hallway or a dark room, and then like she just like comes out of it and it's like silence. No more groaning or pain sounds. And it ends. And it's like, and I thought it was funny because I noticed that it was like 4 writers for this. It was like Noah Haley, someone else, and someone else. I was like, whew, this did feel like a lot of ideas kind of reworked together and to form this. It's like, hey, we're about to end the season, so we gotta tie this up with a neat big bow. But I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. I do want to. About to lose my voice there. This is a really neat season. I can't wait for how this is going to develop, and I hope you guys like my reviews, and hope you guys are watching this season with me. And if you guys haven't already, I hope you guys will please like and subscribe. Hope I'll have a voice in the next episode, and keep staying tuned. Thank you guys. Bye.